Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. This is a great opportunity for us to give you some insight into our motion picture group. The biggest challenge for any studio is staying ahead of the market. You have to find a way to remain nimble and lean and responsive, and your goal has to be to generate enough profit so that you have the freedom to take the risks that lead to the big rewards. But because it is a volatile business, you have to be prepared for all eventualities. Not every decision is going to work. For example, in 2012, we had our biggest year ever. We were #1 at the box office domestically and worldwide. Excuse me. And then in 2013, we had some movies during the summer that didn't meet our expectations that resulted in the second quarter that we've shared with you. That has led us to take a hard look at what we were doing to make absolutely sure that we were on the right path. Now I'd like to share with you what our current strategy is. Let's take it in 4 parts. Maintain a continuous flow of creativity and innovation. Make our key relationships work for us and constantly create new ones. Stay focused on the growth markets and demand financial discipline and operational efficiency. To maintain a continuous flow of innovation, we went from a single Columbia banner to a portfolio of labels. Each of these labels makes its own unique contribution to Sony Pictures, and our label strategy is the key to ensuring that every year our slate of movies is fresh, diversified, vital, and innovative. Columbia brings you the studio's tentpole movies like Spider-Man and Men in Black, and 2012 and James Bond. The Spider-Man franchise alone has grossed over $3.2 billion for our company. And the last 3 James Bond movies, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall, have grossed nearly $2.3 billion worldwide. The bulk of the resources that we put into Columbia Pictures go toward acquiring and developing these kinds of tentpole movies because increasingly they are the foundation of every studio. But Columbia has also had a very successful R-rated comedy business with films like Superbad and Zombieland, Pineapple Express, 21 Jump Street, and last summer's This Is the End. Now, even though these movies are domestically oriented, in success, these small investments generate a very high profit for the studio. Columbia has also had a very successful track record in upscale movies like The Social Network and Julie Julia and Moneyball, Zero Dark 30, and the most recent Captain Phillips. These dramas and thrillers are commercial, they're broad, and they're from some of the most critically acclaimed filmmakers in our industry. Unlike the R-rated comedies, which are domestically oriented, these movies make money all over the world. Now, we also know the formula to make these movies work. You have to keep production costs down. You have to make sure the filmmakers have skin in the game by keeping their fixed compensation low. If we don't make money, they don't make money. The last decade has also seen an explosion in animation and family films. Recognizing this, we built Sony Pictures Animation out of our in-house visual effects company, ImageWorks. This had 2 key benefits for us. It allowed us to get better utilization out of our investment in ImageWorks, and it gave Sony a running start into the highly profitable family film market. We've created franchises like Hotel Transylvania and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and brought franchises like The Smurfs to life. Screen Gems grew out of our lucrative home entertainment division and does genre films for targeted audiences. This label is home to movies like Underworld, Resident Evil, and urban comedies such as Think Like a Man. In August, we announced a deal with Tom Rothman, who's going to make movies under our TriStar label. Tom is going to be focused on targeted action movies with mid-range budgets. We also supplement this slate of films with our worldwide acquisition group. Last year, we had two big hits from that division, The Call and Evil Dead 2. And lastly, Sony Pictures Classics continues to deliver critically acclaimed Academy Award movies for us, like Woody Allen's biggest success ever, Midnight in Paris. And while all of these teams develop, produce, and acquire their own movies, they are supported by the strength of a single, efficient marketing and distribution operation that minimizes overhead expenses. Our second priority is managing our talent relationships, because in addition to the label strategy, this is the other key, the other part of the puzzle that keeps the studio fresh and vital. And we think about talent in a couple of ways. One way is about creating a pipeline of intellectual property, in short, IP. There's a lot of talk about brands and franchises all the time, and rightly so. They are a key part of our business. The trick is to know when to be financially conservative and when to take the bet. We develop our franchise pipeline with a dual approach. We partner with existing IP brands when they become available and when it makes sense and when they're a good fit for us. An example of this would be Angry Birds, the worldwide gaming phenomenon that we're making into a movie that comes out in summer 2016. And we're also making movies out of Uncharted and Gran Turismo, two very successful PlayStation games. We begin filming the next installment of the Da Vinci Code franchise, Inferno, with Tom Hanks next fall. Thank you. But the other approach to franchises is about building rather than buying. Now, it is hard to believe that all of these IP brands, the ones we love and covet and know, were actually an idea in somebody's head. And the biggest way to win is to be in partnership with these filmmakers when they hatch the ideas in the first place. And that means investing in filmmakers that we believe are going to be tomorrow's George Lucas. Relationships are about securing and growing bankable talent. When we find success, we replicate it. And as you will see, our multi-label strategy helps us achieve this, but then we greatly benefit from it. So here's how it works. Seth Rogen and his partner Evan Goldberg wrote a script in high school called Superbad. 13 years later, at Columbia Pictures, we made that movie for $19 million. To date, that film has grossed over $170 million at the worldwide box office. The movie starred Michael Cera and Jonah Hill. Our relationship with Jonah then went on to 21 Jump Street, that also stars Channing Tatum, who had just made two films for Screen Gems, also very profitable, called The Vow and Dear John. The directors of 21 Jump Street, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, had their writing and directing debut at Sony Pictures Imageworks with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Lord and Miller also produced the second Cloudy movie and are directing the sequel to 21 Jump Street. Now, like Channing and Jonah and Seth and Evan, Lord and Miller are part of this new generation with whom we collaborate across all of our various labels. Seth and Evan also wrote Superbad for Columbia Pictures, which Seth starred in with James Franco. Then last summer, they all starred in the very successful This Is the End, which was Seth and Evan's directing debut for us, and a big hit. Now Seth and Evan are doing their second feature for us, also starring Seth and James Franco, called The Interview. And Seth and Evan are branching out into animation and making a movie at Sony Pictures Imageworks. Superbad also launched our relationship with Emma Stone. Emma is now shooting her 8th movie for Sony Pictures. After Superbad, she starred in Zombieland and House Bunny, and then she made Easy A for Screen Gems, which is a movie that cost $7 million and went on to earn 10 times that. But of course, Emma is also Gwen Stacy in our most recent Spider-Man franchise, opposite Andrew Garfield, who we cast in The Social Network alongside Justin Timberlake, one of Sony Music's biggest stars. Justin then went on to make another movie for us, very successful Bad Teacher, with Cameron Diaz, which is now being made into a television show. Cameron is now starring in Annie with Jamie Foxx, who plays the villain in our next Spider-Man franchise, along with Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. We build the right relationships with the people that we believe are the stars of the future. Our third priority is staying focused on the international markets. Countries like Brazil and Russia and China and South Korea are the key to our future growth. Movies like The Smurfs and Skyfall and Elysium and 2012 generated over 2/3 of their box office outside the United States. We're targeting stories with universal themes that are going to be enjoyed across all cultures and leveraging the growing talent pool of international filmmakers so that these movies have a broader appeal. A good example of this would be Captain Phillips, where we hired Paul Greengrass, a British director, to make a film that was going to recognize the cultural nuances and relationships that would make the movie more than just America versus the bad guys. We also take domestic talent and we work with them to build their brand across global audiences. And that is a strategy that's really paid off for us in recent years. Adam Sandler would be a perfect example of this. He's a movie star who broke out to develop a worldwide fan base. It is very rare for a comedy to travel well across borders and languages. But Adam's most recent film, Grown Ups 2, is his 7th to take in over $100 million outside the United States. That is practically unheard of for a comedy star. And 6 of those 7 movies were made here at Sony Pictures. But we know that serving an international marketplace is not just about successfully exporting Hollywood content to other countries. Instead of letting local language movies curtail our success in those territories, we sought out talent and strategic relationships, and we've made them our partners. And now we are a part of a thriving local film industries in China, in Germany, and Russia. And we've expanded our global reach for distribution operations, which now reach 130 countries, from Argentina to Zimbabwe. And we've built this network using the most cost-effective approach in each territory so that our overhead stays low. And this gives me a great segue to our 4th priority: financial discipline and operational efficiency. I would like to tell you about the specific steps we're taking in our motion picture group. We're refining the development process, and this is particularly true when it comes to term deals, which are the development deals that studios make with producers for a fixed amount of money that gives them a first look at their projects. They have always been very important to every studio's success, but recently we have taken a more concentrated approach to them, and as a result, we've reduced our spending by 50% from its peak 7 years ago, and we do see further potential for savings in the near term. In addition, we are continually refining our green light process. In spite of increasing competitive marketplace, we have raised our profit thresholds for our films, demanding an even higher standard for creative and financial success. As part of our new approach, we have reduced the number of films that we make. Historically, Columbia Pictures made about 23 films a year. However, in recent years, we've brought that number down to below 20. And going forward, we anticipate that this number is going to be closer to 18. Recognizing an increasingly crowded summer, we reduced our number of movies for next summer from 9 this summer to 4 next summer. And we remain continually focused on optimizing our slate and our profitability. And as Michael explained, we look at every single component of every film's economics. We're challenging our executives and our producers to meet these standards. And okay, so let's start with talent compensation. Not so long ago, it was standard industry practice to pay actors first dollar gross, meaning they would get a bonus in addition to the salary, whether we were making money on it or not. At Sony Pictures, we have overhauled that approach so that we are ensuring a more equitable balance between risk and reward. And these changes don't just apply to the actors. We don't work with directors anymore who are unable to respect the budgets that we've set for a film. And we're implementing policies where our partners and the filmmakers we're working with face real financial penalties when they don't respect the budgets that we've all signed off on. We're making movies and choosing locations where we're getting the best incentives and tax credits for each picture, and we've averaged about $100 million per year in production savings over the last 3 years. We're getting further efficiencies from technology, and our relationship with the Sony Corporation puts us at the forefront of technological change in movie making. Our motion picture group has methodically cut marketing spend in recent years, and a third-party study has shown that what we spend on marketing is below the industry average. In addition, we are reducing overhead costs throughout the entire motion picture group, and this includes marketing and production and distribution. To give you an example of this, our international operation for theatrical and for home entertainment distribution have been restructured into joint ventures and sub-distribution deals. This approach ensures that we are operating at peak efficiency in every single territory. Cost efficiency is not a temporary strategy for us. It is deliberate. It is a process we are continually refining. SPE has implemented multiple cost reductions initiatives over the last 5 years, and we're currently engaged in another cost reduction plan, which David Hendler is going to tell you more about. And we continue to raise the bar as we go forward. Our business is about creativity, but our management approach is measured and it's methodical. We stay balanced and nimble, we manage risk, we go after opportunities that we think have the greatest chance to pay off. So let me share with you a sampling of what we have. We're closing out 2013 with the highly anticipated American Hustle, a new film from David O. Russell that brought audiences The Fighter and Silver Linings Playbook. And then in 2014, we have Monuments Men, starring George Clooney and Matt Damon. And you'll also see a new incarnation of RoboCop by the massively talented director from Brazil, Jose Padilla. At Valentine's Day, we have About Last Night, starring Kevin Hart. We're going to kick off the summer with The Amazing Spider-Man, and we have slated Spider-Mans a third installment in 2016, and a fourth installment in 2018. That is going to give us great material for years to come. And we are going to access Marvel's full world of Spider-Man characters. So be on the lookout for new villains and new heroes. And speaking of heroes, we start shooting James Bond 24 in the fall, so you can expect him back in the theaters November 2015. Sony Pictures Animation has sequels to Smurfs and Hotel Transylvania coming out that same year. And the following year, they have another Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and a modern-day look at Popeye. So don't forget that along with Spider-Man and James Bond and the next Robert Langdon film, we have Angry Birds and Masters of the Universe and Goosebumps and Uncharted and Gran Turismo and a few things that you haven't heard of that are going to be the tentpoles of tomorrow. As you can see, we are committed to bringing a highly diversified slate and a wide variety of movies to audiences, and we're confident that they're going to deliver at the box office. So to give you a taste of what's in store, this is the new trailer from The Amazing Spider-Man, which has not been seen anywhere else. I now will apologize to those of you who are watching on the webcast because you will not see this content today. It's clear that our future is an exciting one for our motion picture group.